Why aren't AI tools going out to the broad masses? I think there are 4 areas. First is training. Everyone says, we've got Copilot, we're doing AI, job done. They don't realise the power of it. Hopefully some of the things I've said today, you'll go away and try. The deep research button, asking it to justify its response. And that happens in every industry. This month, in fact, in a few days, ChatGPT turns 3. November the 30th, 2022, it was launched. And it's happened so quickly, it's caught everyone by surprise. And I think, now interestingly, a lot of people I speak to with young children say that they're told that AI is cheating. And at school, they're not allowed to use AI because it's cheating. So guess what? They come into university or into the workforce and they don't have those skills because they were told it was cheating, so they haven't played with it. Imagine if someone turned up to your work tomorrow as a brand new employee and they didn't know how to use Excel, Word, or PowerPoint. It used to be you would put those skills on your CV. I know how to use Microsoft Word. I think the next hyper skill is going to be, I know how to exercise an AI tool for my industry. I know how it can be used for diagnosis. I know how I can use it for research. I know the bounds of where I should use it and where I shouldn't. So, very good point. Fundamental baseline education, but also experimentation. I think a lot of people are worried about AI. Will it take my job? I don't want to touch it because it might take my job. In all of my talks, I often have someone who has an aha moment. They go, aha, I didn't know AI could do that. Let me give you a very quick example, not in your industry. 4 months ago, I was in the north of England. I was talking to a family-run business that sells industrial tools. Their CEO was very skeptical. He didn't want to spend time and money on training his workforce. So before I got to the company, I said, can you tell me more about your organisation? So they sent me some information. They said, we've just done an analysis in all our departments. We've done a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And they gave me this massive spreadsheet. It had 17,000 cells and 1,600 rows. And I had it a week before the meeting. How could I possibly analyse their company with all this rich data? I literally, for this organisation. When I got to the meeting, I said, thank you for the SWOT analysis. Who was responsible? It was Chris. Chris, how long did it take you to analyse that SWOT analysis? 10 days. I said, I'm sorry to tell you, Chris, that before I came here, when I was ironing my shirt this morning, I did this in 2 minutes. We then went through line by line what the AI had said, department by department, and they went, I didn't know AI could do that. It's now given me all these opportunities. Now, that's easy to do in a hardware company, harder to do in a medical imaging company. My point is, unless you have that personal, aha, I didn't know it could do that moment, you're never going to be more digitally curious. So part of it is the leaders that hold the cash to enable the frontline workers, they need to have that aha moment. Because guess what? The CEO of this company, by the coffee break, he had 8 pages of notes and he said, we're doing this. It just needed someone like me to push him a bit to your organisation. And you train it on your source of truth, your clinical trials, your reports, things that you know to be true. And this is what you can do. And I think, and I said this last year, the power of AI won't necessarily be the public using it. It'll be when it's inside your organisation. When you've got the ability to train it on those years and years of clinical trials, reports, it will be able to surface those at speed and scale. So part of the answer to that is, do I know the source of the truth? When I train this AI tool, not only do I know where it's come from, do I know what the biases were? We talk about conscious bias. So I have a funny accent. When I spoke my first phrase in Polish, you thought this is going to be a Polish talk. Then I spoke in Australian. Your view of me will have changed because of a bias, positively or negatively. The way I'm dressed, the fact I don't have a tie. Some of you are going, he should have a tie. There will be a conscious bias. Every time we train an AI system, we inject this bias. So what is really important is making sure before you do AI, you sit down, where's the source of truth? How will we deal with the conscious bias? And will we be able to explain how it works? that is a real minefield because that requires a lot of thinking. The other reason, there are 4 reasons why AI projects fail. One of them is process. The existing way we've always done something has to change. And what I say to all my clients is, when you think about doing AI, you need to reimagine every single process. From doing your expenses.
It lets you know that you have to, like, one of the passengers have to sit in the driver's seat, and the taxi will let you know if something is going off. You have to get the wheel and drive it by yourself. And the human in the car didn't do that. And they said that it was the passenger's fault.
We know what we're going to get. And so I've been trained from a young age to think very critically, and I've been very curious. Not everyone's like that. And I think part of it actually goes back to what's happening in our schools. And part of it is, I mentioned before, kids are saying AI is cheating, so we're not looking at that. I do a lot of speaking, and I also do some speaking for a charity in London called Speakers for Schools. People like me go into schools and do talks like this to students that would normally get the opportunity to have speakers come and talk about various things. And so I did one of these talks a few years ago and got some great questions from the students. And then the teacher said, "We're having a teacher development day. Can you come and talk to our teachers?" I was very tough on the teachers. I said, "You're not promoting," and this is well before AI, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago, "you're not promoting critical thinking." IBM, I had some graduate students work for me, and I remember I had a meeting. In the meeting, this particular person argued with me in front of a client. I didn't say anything at the time, and in the taxi on the way back from the meeting, I said, "Can I give you some feedback on that meeting?" "Oh yeah, yes boss." "You don't argue with your boss in the meeting." "Oh, I didn't know that. No one had ever told me about that. I never was taught that at university." So part of the critical skills, critical thinking, decision making, being told no, how to stand up and do what I'm doing in a meeting, they're skills that need to be taught early on. And to the teachers I said, can you spend 1 session a week developing critical thinking? Because it's even more important now. The AI says X, do I believe it? Now I know how to probe an AI more. I'll give you another quick example. I did a talk in London to a group of hotel managers, and I was doing some research, and it found me a great example about the Dorchester Hotel in London. So I clicked on the link, and it went to the website, and there was no mention of the Dorchester Hotel. So I said to the AI, "I can't see the Dorchester mentioned. Where did you get this information from?" And a couple of cycles later, the AI said to me, "I made it up." But I was smart